Welcome to the Scratch Golfer's Mindset Podcast, the show committed to helping you dismantle the destructive mindset programs keeping you stuck in the proverbial bunker of poor performance so you can get out of your own way and play to your potential. My name is Paul Salter. I'm a high-performance hypnotherapist and mindset coach with 16 years of experience helping thousands of individuals like you get unstuck. This podcast features a collection of solo episodes, conversations with scratch and plus handicap golfers, and master classes with top experts in the performance psychology space. The one goal? To help you make playing to your potential a habit. In today's episode, I am thrilled to have my good friend Michael Leonard back on the show. Michael Leonard is a wicked good golfer, a wicked great author, and believe it or not, since the last time he was on the show, a mere 9 months ago, he's authored a second and third book, rounding out his trilogy of books, and I cannot recommend The Blueprint to Breaking 80 enough. It is basically the Bible of mental and technical game aspects to help you quickly start breaking 80 consistently. It's the only book that continues to remain on my nightstand because I refer to it often to pick up tidbits, practice strategies, technique recommendations in certain scenarios. I love it. It's an awesome book. You should absolutely grab it. And in today's conversation, we're talking all things mental game versus mindset. And Mike has a phenomenal perspective here. I thoroughly enjoyed this part of our back and forth. And then we dig deep into what it really takes to perform at your best when playing tournament golf. We talk about the traits that separate consistent performers from inconsistent performers and how to protect your energy when negativity surrounds you. There's so much more in this conversation. I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. Without further ado, please help me welcome back to the show, Michael Leonard. Mike, my friend, so good to see you. How are you today?
Thanks, man. I appreciate being back. First time was a ton of fun.
Yeah, dude, we're going to run deep. We're going to go a couple different directions today, and I would love to hear it because I always love nitpicking and digging into all the great things you do for yourself. What have you specifically done this week or today to work on your mindset?
For me today, it's just been getting back into some habits. Just after losing our dog, just life kind of shut down, it felt like, and I stopped doing everything, stopped working out, stopped, work, like everything just kind of changed. And I realized I had a few tournaments I tried to play in the last month. And I just realized, man, if you're not, you just can't do the mindset stuff once and hope it is there. And I thought I had a lot of good ones, but I just realized today what I did is just got back into my morning routine, just got back to all right, let's do something. It's so easy to just kind of fall off sometimes and go back to, being, I don't want to say lazy, but just mentally a little bit lazy. And I felt like I just haven't had the right stuff on the course and even in work. And I think it has kind of just stemmed from letting the world take me instead of waking up and having a clear plan. So for me today, it was just waking up and getting back to my kind of strategies. I do different stuff every day. It's not like I do the same thing or anything, but I think just having something to kind of before I check my emails and get into all the things that I sometimes do, it's just hey, let's spend 15, 20 minutes and kind of recalibrate and see where the day is going to go.
Yeah, I appreciate the humanness of that answer because what you kind of alluded to is life is unpredictable and messy at times. And there's an opportunity to be hard on yourself at certain times in a productive way, but there's also a better opportunity to be compassionate, kind, patient, and to have some grace with yourself when life is lifing. So I appreciate you sharing that. And it really sets an interesting question and a great dialogue for the two of us. You are just all things the mental game of golf. I mean, I personally have learned so much from you for my golf game that translates beyond the course as well. In your words, is there a difference between the mental game of golf and training your mindset?
Yeah, I think the mental game of golf to me is about making good decisions as well. I think that the mindset is kind of like stuff you develop off the course that's going to help you on the course. But to me, mental game is how you pick targets, how you react to bad shots, how you react to bad breaks. So I think that they are kind of different. So obviously, the book Mindset, I think kind of shaped me 7 or 8 years ago when I read that. And I think it's having a growth mindset. If you get paired with someone that kicks your ass, wow, this is out there. I can get better. So it's like having the right mindset, having the motivation to improve any area of your game. And then to me, the mental game is all the things, how you warm up in the morning, how you, have a morning routine, how you activate your body, how you make decisions throughout the day, how you deal with annoying playing partners, how you deal with bad course conditions, tough conditions with the weather. So I think they're all kind of the same, but I feel like it definitely has some overlap. But for me, it's really like making good decisions from the second you wake up, like on a tournament day to the end of the round is something that I don't think a lot of people really consider. And I think my whole podcast and brand is, trying to like separate and like understand different parts of the mental game. Cause it feels like, I need a better mental game. So what does that mean? So to me, I try to simplify it and give like strategies for it.
Well, you try and you succeed handsomely there. So what I'm hearing from you is almost like the mental game is what to do and how to do it, almost like a mental checklist in this situation, whether it's playing partner is terrible, an asshole, or really good, this selection, this layout on the course, this is how to respond. Is that fair? I heard you correctly?
100%.
So then how, if you had to put a description to mindset, what is different about if someone understands what to do, but they're running into that wall, they're unable to do it? Is that more of a mindset specific issue?
I think for a mindset, to me, it really does come down to the growth mindset. Like that limits most people I talk to when the first call we do together. Like I just try to understand them, and I just probably like you just listen, and that you just start to hear, well, I'm good for those 3 putts. I'm always good for pumping one of those out of bounds. I always, do this in tournaments. And so you start to just kind of understand this whole mindset has shaped them. And it's holding them back and they don't even realize it. So it's like, well, you got to like really be careful about our self-talk, our attitude, and even like jokingly like, oh yeah, I always do that. Like if you say that all the time, you're just like wearing that into your subconscious. And I feel like to me, it's getting people out of their own head, and I'll just stop them like mid-sentence and be like, you always 3-putt that hole? Like, have you ever not? And then, well, yeah, so I just kind of like point out these patterns, and I'm very cognizant of my own, like, my solo episodes I do, and even how I talk to myself. Like it's easy to get into that. I mean, our brain is, wired for that negativity and survival. And so you have to be very cognizant of it. And to me, I think self-talk is probably the easiest way to get there. And then it is like it's a quest. Like it's not ever really done. I feel like you listen to the most successful CEOs, athletes, like they're always still grinding. You never really figure it out, kind of like golf. Like you're always trying to get better. You have the roadblocks, you have the setbacks, the injuries, whatever it is. And so you have to like keep at it, keep going. Like I listen to motivational stuff all the time. Like I like it. It makes me feel good. It makes me think about things. Like you have to just be really careful about the content you're putting in, because it does eventually shape your mindset.
So many great points to unpack. I love that you brought up self-talk, because before you acknowledged it, I was already like picking up on your word choice, and you kept in your example so brilliant using the word always. And that's so common. That's called speaking in absolutes. And you recognize it so quickly like I do. Like, and for you, the listener, if you catch yourself using absolutes, I always do this, I never can or can't do that, that's a real quick indicator that you're speaking in absolutes and that your self-talk has an opportunity for an upgrade and an audit. Because just as Mike alluded to, do you really always 3-putt that? Can you never hit that green, whatever it may be? Awesome that you brought that up, because it's such a low-hanging fruit for someone to quickly bring awareness to and then redirect to something, if not super positive. You don't have to go from negative self-talk to the biggest cheerleader, but at least shift it back in the direction of neutral. Right? Yeah.
Neutral language is huge. And when you improve, then you start to hear it with others. And then you realize maybe some people I shouldn't play with, or I should, like I've called out friends and some of them aren't friends anymore. And I'm okay with it, because life is way too short to be hanging around with people that are doubting themselves and talking down to themselves. They're going to do the same to you. I have one example I can just think of recently, and I was like, I really started listening to his self-talk, and it was never anything positive. And it was just like, and I told him, like, I had to like kind of gave him a shake, if you will. And I'm like, you have such a good life. You're making money. You're doing this, and you're still finding the negative in everything. And it just pissed me off, and I don't think he's changing. And so I'm like, you have to just be really careful. You don't have to hang out with people that aren't evolving. So I think that my circle has shrunk a lot since I quit the corporate world 8 years ago, and quality over quantity, because it really does, the 5 people you hang out with, if they smoke, you smoke, if they're fit, you're fit. There's a lot of truth to it. But I think self-talk is like one of those things that can really spread. And that's why when you get paired with people that are just negative and, in their own head, it's hard. You got to be able to have the mindset to be like, all right, I'm going to let them self-implode. I'm going to stick to my game plan.
And how do you navigate those situations? I'm curious, because I imagine with all the tournament golf and rounds you've played, like you've got that playing partner and it's just relentless. I suck, negative this, negative that. What do you do to manage your focus and emotional state?
It depends on what mood I'm in, because sometimes I'll kind of egg them on to see how be like, man, yeah, that wasn't very good. If they're really annoying
warfare
a little bit, just because I'm like, it depends on if I've introduced my business as well, because then people start to ask me questions. I'm like, look, I'm off the clock, man, and we're playing together in a tournament. So for me, I'm not perfect either. And I was playing in a tournament in Vegas a month ago, and I got paired with some guys that were super angry, and I found myself getting a little back to some of my old habits. So it's easy to do. And then the next day I kind of was like paired with some other guys, and they were getting a little aggressive too. But then I was like, I'm going to be the best out of this group today. So I kind of set it as like a challenge at times. But yeah, I think when I'm riding with someone and they're like whining about this or that, I just won't respond. And they'll be like, did you hear me? And I'd be like, yeah, I just didn't really have anything to say. And like, I'm not trying to be mean, but I'm very, very protective of my energy, my self-talk, my, attitude. And it's so tough when you're riding with someone, especially because then what I'll do is I'll just walk more. I'll be like, hey, I'm just going to walk. Hey, I'm just going to, kind of spend some time, because if you're spending 5 hours with someone that's negative and beating themselves up, it's so easy to let that rub off on you.
Yeah, it wears at you so much to the point as the round progresses, you just become more and more emotionally fragile, is how I like to describe it. You're more prone to letting a minuscule trigger that wouldn't normally bother you suddenly bother you, hijack the steering wheel of your decisions and actions, and suddenly you're just like said person. And that's the opposite of what you're looking for. And for those of you listening, that was really one of the secrets to next level success. It's a prerequisite to protect your time, your energy, your peace of mind. And if you truly are committed to that next level success, entrepreneurial, on the course or otherwise, you've got to be able to do that. Mike, coming back to the growth mindset, you've alluded to it a couple of times. How do you describe it? What do most people get wrong about it?
So I have a good table in my my second book all about it, because it's one of the first things that I think sets the stage for it. And one of the things that always comes up for me is just when you see people doing well, how do you react to it? I used to because you can have a growth mindset in some areas of life and broken in others, or fixed. And so you have to be careful about the different kind of layers that there are to it. But for me, it's success. When you see people making more money than you, or you see people with more of a following, or a better golf game, or a better body, whatever it is, how do you see that? And I think that's one of the biggest things. I got paired up with a guy in San Diego last week, and I mean, I just got my ass handed to me. I mean, this guy he's half my age, and he's hitting it 30, 40 yards past me, and I'm hitting it as far as I've ever hit it. And I'm like, wow, this is absolutely wild. And the old me would have been like, well, that's just, his game. This is my game. And I'm already thinking off season, I'm going to just keep stepping it up. And same thing in another tournament I was playing in where it was a 4-day amateur event. The winning score was 27 under on a pretty, I wouldn't say difficult, but it was not easy. I shot 77, 70, and I missed the cut by 1. And I'm like, this is insane how good, there are, NIL deals. These kids are so good. I think I couldn't imagine getting second place at 25 under, so I got a bunch of friends texting me, and they're like, can you believe this? This is unfair. This is that. And I'm like, it's so easy to be like, yeah, it is. I'm just going to play for this or that. And I'm just was like, again, off season, how can I get better? What are they doing that I'm not doing? And so that to me is probably the easiest one to get, is just how can I use other success and channel that into my belief? Because I really do have the belief and maybe I've just brainwashed myself enough with it. Like if other people have done it, so can I, whether it's golf, business, fitness, like you have to do it. You know, I mean, I'm sure you talk about it a lot on the show, but it's like belief starts upstairs first. And if you use others and you just hate on them, it's the easy way out instead of just being like, I could get better here.
I mean, this is the classic 4-minute mile example. One guy does it, boom, now everybody's doing it. I mean, not literally, but you know what I mean? And because someone made other people believe it's possible. Like, I love how you phrase that. It's all about your decision to respond to other people's success in this example, rather than kind of go down that pessimistic reaction pathway that we're all prone to, because guess what? Your brain is designed to scan your environment for threats and to pick up the red flags, the dangers. It is an uphill battle. It takes work. But as the whole growth mindset book alludes to, is your brain is malleable. Neuroplasticity is a real thing. You have the ability to change your perspective, your beliefs, your habits, and everything else. Now, curious, or go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I just wish people would use others when they're doing better, use that as fuel, use that as motivation.
I didn't say it out loud, but I kept coming back to that word too, fuel as well. Like that's all it is. Like you phrased it so well. It's just like, oh, cool. Like 27 under is possible. Like guess what I'm doing this off season? I'm adding even more.
I got to really get to work.
Come on, Ripstick.
I know. I'm like, man, I'm hitting it as far as I ever have. I'm like, all right, but that's fun though. You know, it's humbling at times. This game can do that, but it's how you go into that next week and how you want to improve.
Somebody has what you consider to be a strong mindset. I can now confidently say, I know you think that person has a growth mindset. What other characteristics, adjectives, or traits come to mind when you think of somebody with a strong mindset?
I would say it's being able to have the perseverance for it. Like, I just feel like it's not gonna, like everything you want takes longer than you think it does. Whether it's adding distance, it's shooting lower scores, it's getting the first 100,000, first million, whatever, like everything takes longer than you want it to. So to me, if you have a growth mindset, you're not like really stuck if things aren't working. And I used to kind of be like that. I was always like, why isn't this happening fast enough? But then when you do get some of those results and you see the success, you're like, well, you know, I have this sign in my bathroom and it literally says everything, what is it? It's like everything is happening right on schedule, the universe. And it's like one of those where I'm just an impatient. I tend to be impatient in the past. I'm improving. But that to me, I think is one of the things is like, because golf, you're going to go through these slumps. You're going to go through these times where it feels like nothing is working. Your swing isn't working, your short game, like whatever it is. And it's just like, you have to persevere. And you see the guys that are, you know, maybe they haven't done it. Like there was a guy that played with Scotty in the Open in the final round. Like he quit the game for a little while, like 6 months, I think they said. And now he's, you know, got, you know, top 10 and the top 5 in the Open Championship. And so, yeah, I'm not saying you can't ever take a break, recharge, but it's knowing that it's just probably going to take a little bit longer and having the ability to persevere for it. And nothing happens as soon as we want. And that's okay. Because if it did, like, that's why, you know, you see all the people that win lotteries and they go broke because they don't have that mindset for it and they didn't work for it. So I think that you have to like understand most people are like, we were in an Uber in San Diego last week and someone's like, yeah, well, once I win the lottery, then I can just get this mansion out here in Coronado. I'm like, if you win the lottery, you're going to get that mansion and then you're going to lose that mansion in a year because you didn't earn it. You don't have that like mindset. You're not going to like just go invest in a nice high end, low cost ETF and like be good to go. Like it's just this mindset piece that people are like, I'm just going to get it all now. Tomorrow I'll have it all figured out. And you have to work for it. So I wish I would have known that 7-8 years ago. I wish someone would have been like, hey, you're going to get like a lot of what you want, but it's going to take like 7-8 years. And be like, oof, okay, yeah. But man, it's worth it now that I'm hitting some golf goals and business stuff. But it's really, really rewarding if you can stick it out.
A quote comes to mind. Your journey in the pursuit of whatever goal you have becomes much easier once you acknowledge how hard it is. Because it's expectation management 101. If you expect it tomorrow, you're in for a rude awakening.
Yeah, exactly. I think that transfers to golf too, like the expectation management. Like we have to have the right expectations on the course and off the course. Like it's good to have big, scary, audacious goals, but they're just not going to happen as soon as you want. And if they did, it wouldn't mean that much to you if you actually achieved it.
Yeah, and that's the part people miss. Like, okay, cool. Like if you didn't earn it, do you actually feel the fulfillment, the pride that you're truly seeking? And that's what keeps you fulfilled to keep chasing bigger and better goals.
Exactly.
You said the word persistence. What immediately came to mind is Gary Christian's story. You had him on your show. I've had him on mine as a result of your introduction. Thank you again. And yeah, if you guys haven't listened to his story, Gary Christian, go check it out. This dude, oldest, I don't know if that still stands, but he was I think 40 probably, years old?
I feel like if you're 40 even on the PGA Tour now, it's rare, let alone, you see the guys now, they're like 25, 26, like 35 is like getting a little up there in age is wild. So yeah, I think he was 40 or 41 when he got, and then to play with Tiger 6 months later at Bethpage.
Yeah. Go check out Mike's interview of him. Phenomenal story. You definitely got to get listening to it because it'll inspire you, to say the least. So we've talked about mental game. We've talked about mindset. We've talked about characteristics of a strong mindset, persistence, growth mindset being 2 focal points. When you think of somebody who is mentally tough, does anything different stand out to you to describe that individual?
Mentally tough, on or off the course, or both?
All of the above.
Yeah, I feel like it actually is kind of one and the same. It's rare that you're mentally tough on the course and not off the course. Let's see. We talked about patience. To me, I would just say for mentally tough, I wish I would have bought the URL because I say it so much, but just keep going. Like it's really having that ability to be like, I think Alex Hormozi talks about it too. Like when you have a challenge, just think, man, this is going to make for a great story one day. Like this is just another dragon I have to slay. And when you have that, I think it helps a lot. And it almost like makes it a challenge. Like human beings love to be challenged. And I don't think most of us challenge ourselves enough. So I think that actually kind of goes hand in hand with it. So yeah, just keep going, but have a challenge that makes it worth it. I think I would rather, achieve a third of my goals, but if you set them big enough, they're better than any of those small ones. And but then have that time frame, right? The time horizon for those goals that we talked about a little bit earlier. So for me, I would just say they challenge themselves. It's so easy to get complacent. Like I'm just shocked at how easy it is, and I've done a good job at times. And then like lately I've just been so complacent. I'm like, come on, and you just have to like keep pushing yourself. No one is going to do it for you. So I guess maybe as a kind of a second point of that is having the self-motivation, because everybody likes you the way you are. And that's why you start to lose friends and playing partners sometimes when you get better or you get more success or whatever it is, because people don't want to see you doing it because it's a mirror that they're like, whoa, what am I doing? Yeah. And so, yeah, I guess kind of being a self-starter. I've done pretty good at that in my life. And, people always would be like, how do you work so hard? I'm like, well, when I first started, I needed money. So it was pretty easy.
I needed to survive.
When you quit your job and you're making $0 all of a sudden, you still have bills. It's pretty easy to stay motivated. But I think getting in that habit for struggle for multiple years in entrepreneurship and golf, I was just failing. But it made me just develop this insane work ethic. And now I'm having, probably the most success I've ever had in golf and business. But I have that habit now and I have that self-motivation. No one's coming in my room right now to tell me to, send some more emails, write another blog, write the next book. But I think having the work ethic for it and the challenge, hey, I have a big goal. This would be really cool to do. So one of my morning routine things that I do to try that is I just really spend a lot of time imagining that coming to life. I have an affirmation for the 3 areas of my life that I'm really trying to improve. And I just imagine what that would be like. And I have kind of broken down and I have notes for it. And I try and sit there sometimes, or I'll walk and I'll think about it, or I'll, listen to some different stuff. But I think it's giving yourself that challenge and then trying to reverse engineer it and being okay with it taking a little longer. It's just, I don't know. It's just you got to have it. You got to have that want to do more, because it's so easy not to.
I could go 15 different directions.
I was going to say, sorry, I kind of rambled there because I wasn't sure.
No, it's so good. Sidebar, I've got a couple of Hormozi's books on my shelf. Surprised we haven't talked about that. Next conversation.
Legendary. It's crazy. He's that jacked, and that's not what he's known for.
and he balls out on dessert every night.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolute beast, man. He is great. I follow him and his wife's content. They're fantastic.
Yeah, agreed. what stood out to me, you didn't use this word. This is what I heard: discipline. You use self-starter, willpower, motivation. And you're right. Like, you used a great example then, like your work ethic, when you really had your back against the wall, it was the only option. You had no plan B. And because of your persistence and execution, now your strong tenacity is just a habit. And discipline still has its challenges, but you've ingrained that work ethic as a habit. Now you're reaping the reward.
Yeah, habits and discipline go hand in hand. Like, if you like everything, you know, people like going to the gym, right? They're like, they'll look at someone and be like, wow, they go to the gym all the time. It's like, I have to go to the gym now. Like, that's literally, if I don't, I feel terrible. Like, I just don't feel like myself. Yeah, exactly. And so it's starting the habits, and then, you know, whether it's 21 days, 50 days, 100 days, whatever study you read, it's always different. But it's like, once you get into those habits, it's just like, what habits can I give myself to set me up for those goals? Like, and that's where I like that kind of reverse visualization. Okay, I am that next version of myself. What does that guy do? When does he wake up? How does he train? How does he work out? Yes. How does he, you know, wake up on a bad day? How does he wake up on when he's feeling good? Like, I just think you have to mentally prepare yourself as much as you can for that. And the discipline eventually will just become second nature.
Yeah. And adding to that is such gold. Most people make the wrong mistake when they're selecting their big, hairy, audacious goal. They're like, what do I need to do to achieve the goal? Mm-hmm. I'm a big believer that's the wrong question. The real question is, who do I need to become to achieve that goal? You've kind of dropped nuggets around that. It's like it's elevating the mindset, your belief system, to align with this next best version of yourself. And just like Mike said, you've got to reverse engineer it. When you're clear on that identity, what is your identity encompassed? It is your belief system. It's your behaviors, your habits, the words you use to talk to and about yourself, your emotional regulation and resiliency, all things Mike has literally touched on the last 25 minutes of this conversation. This is how you level up and become the next best version of yourself.
Yeah, be, do, have, right? Not have, do, be.
Yeah. Fucking cool. Other point I thought worth sharing, specifically for the men listening. Men, and this is a bit of a stereotype generalization, but it's important, we're purpose-driven creatures more so than women, just at our core naturally. So you see men, especially Mike and I in the coaching realm, struggling. Many times it's because they lack purpose. They lack clarity, intention. They don't have a direction, and that robs them of excitement, energy, intentionality in their actions and their choices. So if you're listening right now and you are struggling, stagnant, plateauing in any capacity, maybe it's a good opportunity to really evaluate, like, what is my purpose, my direction? Do I have a goal right now that keeps me excited and taking consistent action?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And that's why I feel like golfers can get into tournaments, and that does give them some of that purpose. And it gives them, because then you're like, hey, I have a tournament, I'm not going to go out tonight. Or, hey, I'm going to work a little harder. Like, it kind of gives you something to like circle on the calendar and gives you something to work towards. And I feel like men definitely need to have a purpose. They need to have competition as well. And I feel like it's very easy after you're in your 20s, the competition kind of falls off. And then it's like, we're just competitive creatures, and we need to kind of have that. And I feel like it does give you that purpose. And it's, that's why when men retire, they die so quickly. A lot of times they don't have any purpose. Like, my dad just retired, and he got all the money, did all the stuff. And he was like the saddest I've ever seen him. And he doesn't have a purpose. He said that multiple times. And so we're trying to help him find the next one. And so, I've read that stat, but I saw it firsthand. And, he ran his business 53 years, just like working, his face off. And I'm like, wow, that's really what it is. So like, my goal is to never retire. My goal is to work until I, probably will hopefully either die on the golf course or, doing something I love at work, and whatever that might be at that time. Like, because I really feel like that's how you live a long time and live a fulfilled life. It's not just about longevity. It's about the quality of a life. And so you see some of those CEOs. We were watching like a NASCAR thing and on Netflix, and one of the guys I think that runs it is like 90 years old or 85 or something, and he looks so with it, and he's just like purpose driven. You got think about Clint Eastwood. He's 93, still directing movies. Like, if you have that purpose and you have something to wake up for, you find new levels of motivation, because it's really easy to just sit around and do nothing and watch all the amazing TV shows we have.
Thank you, Netflix.
I got like 15 streaming services. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, I echo that. I echo that. Scale of 0 to 10, 10 being incredibly high. Would you rate your competitiveness closer to a 10 or a 12?
It's a lot. Yeah. It's, you know, like, I'm not one of those people that like, my girlfriend probably would say otherwise. I guess I'm very competitive. Yeah. I don't like to lose really in anything, but with golf, I've started to give myself a little, reality check, because you just don't win much. I mean, like, it's just, I think Tiger had a good quote. He's like, winning isn't the only barometer of success, which is ironic because he won more than any player ever. And that was literally his barometer of success. So kind of funny that it came from him, but I think his win rate was like 22%, which is insane. And then you look at the next closest guys like 10%, and then most guys are like 1%. And so you have to also create your own kind of wins in golf and in tournament golf specifically, because if you just say, I didn't win any events this year, it was a failure, that's a terrible way to go about it. But yeah, I'm highly competitive in business, in golf, in fitness. I try to create enemies a lot of times out of people and just be like, well, you know, they're beating me, I'm going to go beat them. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, it's about learning from the losses when they do happen, I think, too.
Okay, so you've set me up for, I mean, it's like you're in my mind. This is great. This is where I want to go. Starting here, what does winning mean to you?
For golf specifically, it is just sticking to my game plan. Because like, you just have days where the golf club just feels foreign. It just is like, my God, like some days you like, I always pull it, now I'm pushing it. I always miss putts left, now I miss putts. Like, what? Like, how does that happen? So to me, winning is having a game plan and actually sticking with it. And just whatever that happens. Like, there's just going to be days where the conditions, your body, your swing, something is off. But it's like, did I have a plan? One, did I actually create a plan? Did I play a practice round? Did I map out my tee shot strategy? Did I have the discipline during the round to actually execute that, even when things weren't going well? I said, hey, I'm going to follow Decade on every shot. I'm going to go through my routine on every shot. Did I actually do that? And that's a win to me, because it'll usually take care of itself. But it's when you start to abandon your plan mid-round that, to me, that's not really winning, and that's just emotional. And if you start to play on emotion, it rarely goes well.
Do you have a dark side?
Definitely.
Tell us more.
It's something I've always tried to kind of like. My girlfriend calls me a psycho Boy Scout. She's like, 95% of the time you're a Boy Scout. Like 5% of the time, you know, there's like a, you know, he's I've had anger in the past, and that's why I worked with Debbie, and now it's 99-1. So there's still just enough of that guy in there to motivate me or to, you know, help me out of situations or give me that fuel. But I think that you can have a dark side and use it to your advantage if you learn how to use it. But most people never learn about it because they're never quiet and they're never with themselves, and they just think it's a bad thing. And it can be. I mean, you see those idiots on Instagram, you know, knocking each other out on the golf course and doing stupid stuff. And, you know, like when I was talking to Scott Fawcett, I know you've had him on too. He's like, there's going to be a day in your life where if you let the dark side come out, it could maybe mean you go to jail. It could maybe mean your whole life has changed. You know, it could mean something big. So it's like, you have to get control of it. You have to understand it. So yeah, I think I do, but I've learned a lot over the last 8 years since I got into entrepreneurship and personal development, but I know there's a lot more I can still do. It's about using it though as a good thing and not letting it use you.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about who are you going to let drive the decisions and actions of your life. Are you the one in control of the steering wheel, or is the dark side? And you're right, the dark side has a potential to be productive when you're able to maintain a semblance of control over it. Now, you said something I really loved. You said sometimes you create enemies for the sake of creating enemies. You know, I immediately go to The Last Dance. Michael Jordan has this example where he basically makes up a slight from some rookie on a back-to-back against the Wizards. And then the first night, I think the rookie drops 37. MJ struggles. The next night, I forget, but MJ drops like 55 and they win by who knows how many points. He makes up this whole story that the rookie puts his arm around him and says, hey, good game, Mike. Turns out none of that ever happened, but he used it as fuel. Yeah. Am I hearing you correctly? You operate more or less in the similar way.
Good tie in there. It's the dark. That's the dark. MJ had a dark side. Tom Brady, like all the people you like, they're not just these like happy-go-lucky guys. They're super driven. Whether they're CEOs, they're athletes, they have something in them that they can turn to when they need it. So yeah, for me, when I I guess my dad actually is a really good example of that. He always had a couple of enemies and he loved when he would win. And so I kind of think I had that from him. And then I heard it in Choose Your Enemies Wisely, Patrick Bet-David's book. And he talks about how all the great companies, all the great CEOs, MJ, athletes have used that. And so I really started to do that last year when I was setting my goals. And I got very clear on a few enemies in multiple areas of my life. And I used it as fuel. And I don't want to work, or I don't want to train. I want to do this. And I'm like, well, think about, that person beating you. Think about that person, having more success or whatever it is. So it's a lot of people would probably disagree with me, but I think it's a great thing. I feel like if you look at the most successful people that you want to be like, they all have chosen their enemies wisely and they have used that as fuel. So I think it goes hand in hand with the dark side, if you will.
I think it's a prerequisite for next level success. I totally agree. And it looks a little different for everybody, but it's necessary because I always come back to this word outstanding. If you flip it around, it's to stand out. We are not conditioned to stand out. It's not safe. We're biologically wired to belong. We fear rejection, judgment, abandonment. You need a little darkness to stand out, to take those actions, to separate yourself from average, ordinary, and normal. And when you do that, you open up a world of possibilities: success, love, finance, golf course success, all of the above.
Yeah, 100%. And it does look different for everyone. I think that's a good way to put it as well. And I don't know. I just feel like the last few years, they've just, the world has made it out to be like bad if you're motivated or have, drive and stuff like that. And it's total BS. I mean, anyone that's achieved anything great has had to work hard at it. They've had to get motivated, have the discipline. They've had to do all those things. Again, it's so easy to be broke, lazy, fat, bad at golf. It's so easy to do, right? Like to tie it into golf. It's so much easier. I wish it was the opposite way around, but it's having that, kind of tying it back to earlier. It's having the ability to set those goals and figuring out who you can be and who you need to be, because the version you now probably isn't it. So it's like, how can I just get a little bit better every day? And there's it's not like it's just straight up, right? It's up and down, up and down.
Correct.
But I wish it was just straight up. And I just wish more people would get after it. Just set some of those goals, man. Like, I want to die with nothing in the tank.
A good book. You just said that. I'm going to go off on a tangent. Die with Zero. You ever read it?
I've heard of it, but I don't think I've read it.
Worth a read. It's all about literally dying with zero in the bank because you're living your life to the fullest, which kind of is an echo of what you've shared in this conversation. Great
I like
book.
that.
Bill Perkins.
Okay. I'm down.
I know, right? The tournament golfer version of you 5 years ago, what's different today versus that version of you 5 years ago?
Everything. Like I played I went to Q school in 2019, and the fact that I was only 2 shots away from going to the next stage is wild to me, because I knew nothing that we talked about today, that I've shared in 412 episodes, 3 books, none of that. Like, so I'm like, how? And I'm not a naturally talented player. It's taken a lot of work to get here. So the fact that I didn't know decade golf, I didn't know how to pick targets, I knew nothing about breathing or calming myself down or pre-round activation, pre-round hypnosis, none of it. So when I look at it, I'm like, well, props for that kid for even signing up, to be honest with you. So I think that's the first thing, right? It's like, you can't, I think it was a Brian Tracy quote, you have to get so far out of your comfort zone. I'm going to butcher the quote, but you have to get so far out and be okay to fail, because then you learn so much more than never even trying. And I was like, wow, the fact, because when I went to Q school, I just think that's the best example, because most amateurs would never go to Q school. It's $3,000. It's, you got to find a site, you got to stay there, practice rounds, walking. It's so intense. And it was 90 degrees, 90% humidity. It was just hot and stressful and, all of the things. It was peak tournament golf. But when I look at that version of me versus now, I'm like, man, I didn't hit it nearly as far. I knew nothing about course management, nothing about mental game, nothing about post-round recaps. So everything, I would say, has changed. That's really why I wrote the third book, because I was like, man, I would love to help people speed up success and give them that formula and have because it's easy to get into tournaments and play bad and never want to do it again. But then there's a select percentage of people that are like, oh, again, growth mindset. Oh, I really did not do good, but I can figure this out. How can I figure it out? Well, the book hopefully will help, because I've played in 380 days of tournaments since 2016, and I've learned a lot, and that's why one of the questions you asked me earlier about playing partners, it's hard because I'm always like in a content mode. I'm like, ooh, this is gonna be a good story. Ooh, this is gonna be good in the book. So I always have to kind of like be careful to stay present and just worry about my game. But I would say every part of it, from how I manage my game, warm-ups, workouts, hydration, nutrition, every part of it has changed.
Love that. It reminds me, I have a client right now. We've been working together for a while, but he was a +2 handicap when we started. So obviously can hold his own. Just getting into tournament golf though, shot a 96 his first tournament. Was like, what the fuck? And he could have died there, but like you alluded to, fortunately he had a growth mindset and now he's shooting where he needs to be in tournaments. So I love that you brought that up. I'm curious because I wanted to get into the book. You are such a content machine and leading through a lens of quality too. Let me make it very clear. You don't just mass produce shit. It's so good. What do most golfers who are really beginning to become tournament regulars, what do they misunderstand about what it takes to play great or play to their potential more consistently in tournaments?
Well, first off, thank you. I appreciate it. I love what I do, and I love sharing and getting feedback. It means the world to me. Like if I can help anyone, like one person with a book, I will write it. Like, and the fact that it's helping a lot more than that is cool. But to me, I'd say there's a whole section in there about tournament golf mistakes. But I'd say kind of with the story you just shared about your client, it's thinking that you're a +2 or you're a 5 or 10 or whatever, that you're just going to shoot the normal scores that you do. And it's probably not going to happen. I had a coach tell me that you're always best in practice. You're not quite as good during casual rounds, and you're definitely not as much in tournament rounds. So I think it's understanding that and having the ability to, like understand it's probably going to be pretty rough those first few times. It's rare that someone comes out of the gates and is just an awesome tournament golfer. If they are, fantastic. I'd love to interview you on the show. But it's usually, it's just a process. You're playing with new people. You get a pin sheet that might feel like you're reading hieroglyphics. You're, all of a sudden your name's getting called. Maybe there's some more people there. You're signing your scorecard. You're dealing with a rules official. Maybe you get put on the clock. So many things can happen in a tournament that would never happen in a normal round of golf. So that's where that mental game really comes in. And that's where you have to understand that it's just going to be very, very different. Even though it's the same 18 holes, maybe it's at the same course you've played, every day, it just feels different. I mean, I've seen guys that are, play a course 6 days a week and then they play the club championship there and they're 15 shots worse. They're not the first person, and I've done it. Everyone's done it. But I think if you just feel like, oh, well, I'm, really good. Well, it's like, do you really putt out those 3-footers? Do you really take an out of bounds drop in a practice round or a casual round? So I think that's probably the biggest thing, is the resetting those expectations and just being like, hey, I always shoot in the 70s. That might not happen. Again, I want you to be, optimistic and set good goals, but tournament golf can humble a lot of players.
Yeah. And I almost, what I'm hearing from you as you describe it, stimulus overload. And what comes to mind immediately is you, in these pressure-filled stimulus overloading situations, you fall to the level of your habits, your training, your preparation. And that's never at peak optimal level when you want it to be. It takes skill, experience, failure, mistakes to fine-tune and calibrate it where you need it to be on demand.
Stimulus overload, I think, is really good too. There's just so much. You're starting to compare yourself. You're on the range. You're hearing a lot of good shots. You hit a bad one. You're like, anybody see that? It's like, did I get there too early? Did I get there too late? Am I rushed? There's so much that's just different than a normal round. But it's exciting. I mean, it's fun if you can stick with it long enough and you're like, hey, I like this challenge, right? Like, you can't be afraid to get last place. Like, you just can't. And I've got some last place. I've got some first place. I've got a lot in the middle, some in the back, some in the front. You got to just be okay with that though. And if you do, it's wildly rewarding, because you talked about winning earlier. To me, if you enter into a tournament and actually finish and sign your scorecard, that's winning.
Love that. Love that. If you could place, I think I've asked you a variation of this question previously, but filter your answer through the lens of tournament play here. There's a billboard visible on all 18 holes during a tournament. What would you put on that billboard to remind the participants?
I would like to say stay present, but people don't really know what that means, I feel like. So I would say stick to your routine, because if you're focused on your routine and you're doing the right routine and you're actually if you go through it correctly, you actually will calm your mind down and you will hit better shots. But most people don't really have a good routine, or they're missing some key ingredients of it. And so then it's more like a going through the motions versus actually like preparing them for the shot. So I just been posting a lot. Lori was out watching me at Torrey Pines, and she got a lot of videos of me in the tournament going through my full routine. You could see my breath. You could see it's just the same thing over and over again. And there's certain things you can never see if you're videoing, but like when I really like talk to my players that are, high level tournament golfers, that's all we're thinking about. I was just talking with a girl, a really good college player, and she was like, when I'm playing my best, I'm not thinking about anything. I'm just thinking about my targets and my routine. And I'm like, that's exactly right. You just never hear, you don't hear Scotty afterwards just being like, I was really working on my wrist hinge. I was really working on getting the club laid off or whatever. Like, it's just, you don't hear that. But if people stick to their routine, they're not thinking about their swing. And when you're not thinking about your swing, that's usually when you're going to play better.
And if you're listening and you feel called out that your pre-shot routine is missing key ingredients, well, fortunately, Mike has all of the cookbooks to get you the ingredients you need for pre-shot routines. Mike, where can everybody go? What are your 3 core books? Where can they go to get them?
Yeah, everything's on Amazon and Audible, 3 formats on Amazon, and then the Audibles have about an hour extra bonus content on each of them. So Wicked Smart Golf is 111 ways to play better without swing changes. That's all about breaking 90 and kind of getting introduced to the mental game. Second book is Wicked Smart Golf 2, how to break 80 consistently, which is all about getting in the 70s without swing changes. And then the final one that just came out is the Wicked Smart Golf 3, the Tournament Golf Secrets to Perform Under Pressure. And that one's just all about finding tournaments, how to prepare mentally, physically, how to manage your game during the round, what to do after the round. So it's kind of the full blueprint there.
Which one are you most proud of?
I'd say just the first one, because like no one knew me and it didn't sell any for like a year. And, it's just like probably a year and a half. I remember in January of this year, we sold more copies than the first year and a half combined, or maybe 2 years, something, whatever it was. And I was just like, man, I'm so glad I published it. And, because I started, I never planned on starting a trilogy and all these spin-off books and journals and workbooks and stuff. So I really like them. I mean, you have to obviously think your books are good enough to help people. So I'm really proud of all of them for different reasons, because I've been at all levels of the game. I used to be so bad shooting in the 120s, the 100s, the 90s, the 80s, 70s. Like, I've just done so much in the game that I try to meet people with where they're at. And one thing I know about golfers is they're addicted to improving. It seems to just, this type A is definitely part of the game. Like, people rarely want to just stay with where they're at, which is great. Kind of what we were talking about earlier, not being complacent. So I'm just proud that people can literally go through the 3 and hopefully get to their goals. But the first one, it was pre Wicked Smart, really. I hadn't done a podcast. This was all kind of me. Like the other books, I feature a lot of stuff from our guests, and you're in the second one, and I'm really proud of all of them. But that first one was like, I don't think anyone's going to buy this, but I'm going to put it out there. Maybe somebody will. So I think that's probably the best, and it's been really cool. It's been fun to see.
That's phenomenal. And I've thoroughly enjoyed the first. I'm chipping away through the second book.
Second one's a little longer, so no rush. It's
the second one is a little longer, but
the hardcover can also be used as a weapon. It's a good one. When I first got it, I'm like, whoa, this came out a little bigger than I thought. But I really don't feel like
next to your kettlebells.
Yeah, there's no fluff though, man. I am not a fluff guy. Like, you listen to my podcast, YouTube videos, I'm straight to the point, man. Like, people got stuff to do, so there's no fluff in it. But try to over deliver on the value.
And you knocked it out of the park. Where can people go? You said Amazon, Audible for the books. Remind everyone, though, they should know the name of your podcast, your social handles.
Yeah, everything's just Wicked Smart Golf. So you can just search on Apple, Spotify, all the handles, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram is all at Wicked Smart Golf.
Awesome. Dude, thank you for such a valuable, fun conversation.
Always, man. I'd love chatting with you. Love what you're doing for the game. And it was awesome to finally meet up in person in January. And hopefully I'll get you back in next January too.
Yeah, we'll make it happen again. And for those of you listening, I know you found immense value in today's conversation. So not only do I strongly encourage you to go listen to it again, get your note-taking device ready, go share it with a fellow golfer friend, someone who's going to find equal amounts of value in this conversation. You will get tremendously better on and off the course if you take what Mike has shared with us and start taking action on it. And if you haven't done so already, it takes 30 seconds to leave a genuine rating and review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you are listening to the show. It's your ratings, your reviews that give me a little bit more street cred to get phenomenal guests like Mike on the show. So it goes a long way. Thank you again for listening. Have a phenomenal rest of your day. Hit them straight this weekend, and we'll catch you in the next episode.